What happens when a comedian walks onto the biggest talent stage in the world and somehow gets Sofia Vergara laughing almost nonstop? Cris Sosa stepped onto the America's Got Talent 2026 stage with one goal: prove that comedy still has a place among singers, dancers, and huge production acts. But what happened next surprised a lot of viewers, because this wasn't just about getting laughs. Fans started asking a bigger question. Could Cris Sosa actually be the comedian who finally breaks the AGT pattern and goes all the way? Some viewers called him one of the funniest acts of the season. Others weren't convinced and questioned why the judges were laughing so much. And today, we're breaking down why this audition created such a strong reaction online. Before we get into it, hit that like button, subscribe to Reaction Recorded, and tell us where you're watching from, because I want to know which country is joining the conversation today. Now let's talk about what really happened. When Cris Sosa walked onto the AGT stage, he immediately had something that many comedians struggle to build: connection. The audience wasn't waiting for a massive trick or a dramatic vocal performance. They were waiting for one thing. Could he actually make them laugh? And according to many fans watching, he delivered. The biggest reaction came from the way Cris handled his personality and his storytelling. Instead of trying to shock the audience, he leaned into relatable humor, his own experiences, and the kind of jokes that made people feel like they were listening to a friend telling a funny story. One of the lines that immediately became memorable was, "You want to know? I couldn't even tell ya." That simple phrase became one of the moments people kept repeating after the audition. The consensus online is that sometimes the simplest jokes are the ones that land the hardest. Many viewers said they weren't expecting much when a comedian walked out because AGT has often been dominated by singers and visual performers. But Cris changed the energy in the room. And the biggest proof? The judges' reactions. One thing fans immediately noticed was Sofia Vergara's reaction. Throughout the performance, Sofia was visibly enjoying herself, and that sparked a huge conversation. Some people were saying, if Sofia is laughing like that, he must be doing something right. Others pointed out that there is a difference between politely smiling and having a real laugh. A few viewers even discussed Mel B's famous belly laugh reaction and why that moment got such a strong response. Because when a comedian can make judges forget they are judging and just enjoy the moment, that can be a powerful sign. But here is where the debate begins. Not everyone agreed. Some viewers said they didn't understand what was so funny. Some felt the jokes were too simple. Others argued that AGT gives comedians a difficult challenge because they only have a short amount of time and must keep their material suitable for a family audience. And that leads to the bigger question. Was Cris Sosa truly hilarious? Or did he simply have the perfect AGT moment? This is where the audience became divided. A lot of fans loved Cris. They described him as comedy gold. Some viewers praised the fact that he didn't rely on offensive jokes or constant shock value. They said his style felt refreshing because he focused on clever observations instead of trying too hard. One major theme appeared again and again. People are tired of comedians thinking they need to be controversial to be funny. Many fans appreciated that Cris was able to create laughs while staying clean and accessible. But then came the other side. Some viewers simply didn't connect with the routine. They felt the jokes didn't hit hard enough. Some even said they were confused by the judges' reactions. And honestly, that disagreement is what makes this audition interesting, because comedy is probably one of the most subjective forms of entertainment. A singer can hit the right note. A magician can complete the impossible trick. But comedy? A joke either connects with you or it doesn't. One thing many viewers noticed was Cris's confidence growing during the performance. At the beginning, some fans felt he looked nervous. And honestly, that makes sense. Walking onto an AGT stage is different from performing in a small comedy club. Millions of people are watching. The judges are staring directly at you, and one bad pause can completely change the energy. Some viewers believed Cris almost lost his rhythm early on. But then something happened. He found his flow. The audience started responding. The judges became more engaged, and suddenly it felt less like an audition and more like a real comedy show. That transformation is what made many fans believe he has potential, because being funny is one thing, performing under pressure is another, and Cris showed he could recover. This might be the biggest discussion coming out of this audition. Many fans said, it's time for a comedian to win. AGT has seen incredible singers, dancers, magicians, and unique acts take the top spot. But comedy winners have always been rare, so some viewers are hoping this season could finally change. They believe Cris represents something different. A contestant who doesn't need huge effects, a contestant who doesn't need a dramatic background story, just a microphone, a stage, and the ability to make people laugh. But others are not convinced. Some fans compared him to other comedians and said there are stronger comedy acts. Some even mentioned that another comedian may have been funnier, and that competition could become important as the season continues. Because AGT is not just about one great audition, it's about surviving week after week. Here's the thing many people might be overlooking. Cris doesn't just have jokes, he has likability. And on a show like AGT, that matters. The audience votes for people they connect with. They remember personalities. They remember moments. They remember someone who made them feel something. And Cris created a moment. Whether everyone thought every joke was perfect or not, people were talking. And in entertainment, getting people to talk is already a victory. The biggest question now is whether Cris can continue improving, because the first audition proves he can get attention. The next challenge is proving he can keep it. So, after looking at the full reaction, was Cris Sosa actually the comedian AGT needed? The answer depends on what you expect from comedy. If you wanted a comedian with non-stop shocking punchlines, maybe this wasn't your favorite audition. But if you wanted someone who connected with the crowd, created memorable moments, and made the judges genuinely enjoy themselves, then Cris delivered exactly what AGT is looking for. The reason this audition became a conversation isn't because everyone agreed. It's because people had different opinions. Some saw a future finalist, some saw a fun audition, and some saw the beginning of a possible comedy comeback on AGT. But one thing is clear, Cris Sosa didn't just walk onto the stage. He created a moment people are still discussing. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Cris Sosa has what it takes to make it to the finals? Or was the reaction bigger than the actual performance? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to Reaction Recorded for more AGT reactions, fan debates, and the biggest moments everyone is talking about.